Hello and welcome to the Bikes or Death podcast. My name is Patrick and I'm your host. This is the podcast that talks about bikepacking, adventuring, and the cool people that make up the sport. On this episode, I sit down with Indiana Shulz and Tom Hughes. It takes place the day after the Grand Gravel 500, and I'm just super slow getting this episode out. I recorded it 30 days ago, so I'm a little embarrassed and I apologize for that, but life happens. Anyway, my delay in getting it out is in no way a reflection of my excitement for this episode. When I was listening back and editing it, I was laughing and really enjoyed the conversation. I really like both of these guys a lot. They're super interesting. They're fun, and it was a great conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. Also of interest, if you listen to episode 3 with Jared Foster. He and I talk about his adventure media course in which he takes 16 students bikepacking, and he invited me to go along. So I went on that trip just a couple weeks ago to Big Bend Ranch State Park with the group, and I recorded a lot of audio, and so I'm going to be putting that together into a podcast. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that yet. It's going to be a lot different than what I'm used to, which is a typical interview / conversation, but I hope it turns out good, and it was a really great trip, so I'm excited to share that with you. Lastly, don't forget, if you want to follow me and what I'm doing, you can find me on Instagram at Bikes or Death. And if you want to support this show, this type of content, please head over to Patreon. You can find me there at Bikes or Death. And that's it. Let's get to the show.
I came in the door, I said it before. I never let the mic magnetize me no more, but it's biting me, inviting me to rhyme. I can't hold it back. I'm looking for the line.
Let's talk about the Grand Gravel 500.
Yeah, it's wild. Wild stuff.
So just to go back real quick, I'm sitting here with Indiana Shulz again. He's back in my dining room.
Hey,
and
thanks for
the
having me.
studio. Yeah, the studio. And Tom Hughes. So Indy repeated first place. He got first place again in the Grand Gravel 500. So congrats, man.
Thank you.
Pretty impressive. Tom, what'd you say?
It was unexpected.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna call you out on that in a second.
Okay.
Because and then Tom Hughes is here, and he got third. He tied for third with Bo. How do you say his last name? Do you know?
Troush.
Let's go with Troush.
Yeah.
Troush.
We talked a lot, but we didn't get that far.
Yeah.
Well, we did better than in Billy Rice's episode. He just referred to him as the guy from Colorado.
Right.
So
I think you called him the guy from California. At first.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
It's like,
I was laughing when I heard
about?
that.
So anyway,
Yeah,
congrats,
he's
guys.
strong.
I mean, man, it was like super tough conditions out there this year.
Brutal.
And I was laughing because Indy was here just the day before the race, and he was saying, "Oh, I haven't really trained much, and I'm not really gonna push it too hard."
I think that's just Indy's tactic.
No, I mean, I'm
downplay
amazed that I feel better this year than I did at the end of last year, and I didn't race smart at all. That guy Chip, who's a wonderful guy, he passed me and Tom and Mike at the beginning, and he just said, we introduced ourselves. He said, "I'm Chip, like the potato." I said, "Hey, what's up? I'm Indy." And he goes, "Yeah, so what's your experience?" And he said, "This is my first bikepacking race." And I said, "What are your goals?" And he said, I want to stay happy, I want to finish, and I want to finish in one piece." And I said, "Those are great goals."
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll tell you what Mike Hall told Billy Rice, and Billy Rice told me." And he said, "Wherever you are on the course, just be happy. And it sounds like you're going to do just fine." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm just going to go stretch my legs a bit and warm up," because it was cold at the beginning. Next thing I know, he was 10 miles ahead of all three of us, and I think we were all in second place, basically riding together, just trying to keep an easy pace. And I remember looking at these guys, and I go, there's always one person that wants to be a hero, And I was thinking of Bo the year before, who just took off like a bandit, and then this year it was Chip, and then I got caught chasing him. Yeah.
That was really interesting to watch that in the beginning, because I'm just watching the dots, and I'm watching Chip go out like a banshee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, is he going to blow up? Is he going to keep going? And he kept it up for all the way to Palestine.
Yeah.
So
that was his
he's
plan.
really consistent.
Yeah, that's for people who don't know, Palestine's basically the halfway marker. It's 250 miles in, and he took a little nap at the hotel, and Indy kept going.
I was ready to call it at Palestine. I had injured my wrist 4 weeks ago, falling on some ice, and since I wait tables, it hadn't healed quite yet, and I aggravated it really bad on mile 180. So anytime I reached for the brake levers or shifted my bike, there was a shooting pain in my wrist. And I didn't know it at the time, but my seat post was also a centimeter too high, so my knees were in agonizing pain, and my Achilles were just screaming. And I was really contemplating when I get to Palestine, I think I should just either drop or get a hotel, and think about things, see if I want to finish this race or not. And I was really kicking myself for not. When the race started, I thought maybe I'll just do the 200 miles with Brian and Billy. And I was kicking myself for not taking the easy way out, because that's really what I wanted at the time.
It would have been fun.
Yeah, but I looked at the track leaders, and I mean there was a solid group for the top 8 people. Yeah. Everybody, I think, was, besides Chip, who had just went real fast to Palestine and got 15 miles ahead of us. We were all separated by maybe only 10 or 12 miles, and that's only about an hour. But the conditions were terrible. I mean, the mud was really slick, and there's all those rollers, so you're going real fast down into it, and you kind of have to pump the brakes, otherwise you might slide out. And it was cold. It was cold. Dark. Yeah, it was pitch dark. My hands wouldn't get warm and my feet wouldn't get warm, but my core was okay. But it was a tough decision to make. And then when I saw he stopped, I thought, well, he's either going to sleep for a while or he blew himself up, and that's it. So, but I had the Whataburger, and I didn't pack enough calories after that, and the next 100 miles was terrible. And then I saw all these guys ride Whataburger, and I had no idea what was going on with them. But
yeah,
how was your time from Groveton to Palestine?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I was riding along with Carrie a lot, and Bo was kind of coming ahead of us and behind, and having his own little adventure at the time. But I really wanted to stick with Carrie because she's done the route before. She's a local, and she's very technical and skilled. And there was these mud holes that were like 50 foot long. I didn't know they could have been 5 feet deep. You might just get swallowed in there. And I would just completely stop, and she wouldn't. She just barreled right through. Apparently there's a line, and there were several times I tried to follow her, and I did go ankle deep in the mud.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. But the hills in the Crockett Forest, to me, were that's kind of what I'm used to. They were not very steep or very long. So I was powering through there. I felt really good. But we were riding along 15, 16 miles an hour, and then the mud would just suck you down. You're going 2 and pedaling in the grainy gear.
Mm-hmm.
Going
downhill. Bog you down real quick.
It just came out of nowhere.
Did you have a moment where you thought about tapping out too?
No.
You're really questioning, why am I here?
No, not really. I mean, I knew I wanted to come a long way to be here.
Awesome.
I got to finish. So I never seriously considered stopping or anything.
Going back to
I was really motivated watching the tracker and seeing Indy's 10 miles ahead, and Chip was like sometimes it's really far ahead, but then
what's he gonna do in Palestine? Yeah.
So I was I left Palestine before him, and he had already been stopped for 2 or 3 hours or something. So I was like, I've done this distance. I don't have to sleep. I can make it all the way through. And he's never done more than a 1-day race, so I was like, I got the advantage here.
Mm-hmm.
My legs are good to go, and I thought I had a good shot at first, but
of course,
these guys are so strong.
I think it was anybody's race, and we all I'd have to go back and look at the track leaders and see how we all bounced around, but Chip had 15 miles on all of us getting into Palestine, and then I think I put 40 miles on him just because he slept. But that 100 miles between Palestine and Trinidad was where I was going 5 miles an hour, and I had run out of food, and I had a little bit of water left, and I slept twice, 2 30-minute naps. And I think I told you I was all delirious, and I had this idea that I'd put an extra pair of socks on, but I was only going to put it on one foot so that when I woke up I'd see which one was warmer. And then, of course, I forgot I had 2 socks on my right foot. So for the last 155 miles, I had 2 socks on my right foot. which was silly. And it's probably why my knee hurt a little bit. But it was just those things where you're out there and it's harder to quit than it is to keep going once you get away from that supply point. But I did see Billy and Brian came out to check in on everybody, and they were like, it's a disaster out there. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, people are dropping like flies. There might only be 3 people that finish this year.
Yeah.
And he's like, but Chip's up and rolling. And I go, yeah. I started talking about myself and what I was going through and my wrist. And I said, Brian was like, there's no shame in throwing in the towel. And I said, I've never DNF'd. And I was thinking about Hal Russell and how Hal says he knows 2 things about a race. He's going to start a race and he's going to finish a race. And I thought, it doesn't matter what place I get. This is a hell of a race. If it takes me 40 hours, it takes me 40 hours to finish this last 150 miles. I'll just keep moving, And at that point in time, I was in so much pain with my knees and my Achilles. I literally thought it was going to take 40 more hours. And so I get to Trinity, and a few big mistakes I made before the races. I didn't bring my baby powder, which I use for my chamois. It keeps everything nice and dry down there. So I had some painful things going on down below, and I didn't know that my seat was too high. So when I got into Trinidad, I went to the Dower General and had my pink tutu on, and I was in my spirits were pretty low. So I went in there and I got some Advil and some baby powder, and these 3 little girls were looking at me and they just started laughing. And I waved, and they were like, tutu, and I was like, yes, like, this is me. And like their mom kind of like put their arm in front of them, and like a mama bear does to her cubs. And I was like, no, I'm just
not crazy.
I look really weird. And when Brian said he saw me, he goes, you were so calorie deficient and you were ghost white. And I had every single layer on when they saw me. I was freezing. And he goes, yeah, we didn't. He's like, I didn't think you were gonna make it. And then when they left, there was about 5 minutes of regret where I was like, I should have just hopped in the car. But I didn't, right? So anyways, I'm in Trinity, and then I go to the gas station, or Trinidad. Or is it Trinity? Trinity. Yeah. So I go to the gas station, and I just thought, all right, you're going to be out there on the road again for another, maybe 20 hours. Let's make sure you have everything. So once I saw 2 kids in there, one of them gave me a high five. So more good reactions to the tutu. My spirits are starting to lift. I actually sat down and I ate food. And while I was eating, I was thinking about my seat and why I was in so much pain. And I realized that I've been training with my winter boots, which have a 1 centimeter higher stack than my road shoes. So I figured, I'm here, I'm taking my time, I might as well take out the tools and fix the bike and see if that helps. Sat down, ate a bunch of food, and there's that weird moment where it takes about 10 minutes for those 10 or 15 minutes for those calories to actually hit you. And when you've been calorie deficient for so long, your stomach doesn't quite know what to do. And you almost feel like you're going to throw up, and then all of a sudden your body starts to absorb it. Right. I've done it so many times, and it never gets easier. It just feels
the
like
same thing, yeah.
Oh, like you feel nauseous. And when that wave of nausea, I got over that. I got back on my bike, and I think Chip had just gotten into Trinity, and so we were pretty close to each other. Anyways, I pedaled for 10 miles, and I felt good. And I had a little distance on him, and then out of nowhere, I just thought, it's now or never. Like, there was 2 things that were going to happen. I was going to pedal my ass off and win the race, or I was going to pedal my ass off, and Chip, who is a very fast rider, was going to catch me, and then I was going to eat tacos for an hour at 6. And I was really voting for option 2. Yeah, because it was 150
Give
miles.
Give me a reason to stop and get some tacos.
And don't make me look bad, right? Like, if you're in front of me, I'll just be like, yeah, I ran out of food. I had to get tacos. Right, like, I can't not give it my best effort. And I think I was telling you guys this last night. I felt like Will Ferrell in Old School, and he does that debate. I just blacked out. Yeah. Like, I don't know what happened. I just pedaled as hard as I could, and I kept looking at the tracker every 30 minutes. It was crazy because he has the power. He is fast. And it was fun talking to him after the race, and he said he hit a section of mud, and it just really kind of lowered his spirits. And he had skinnier tires, and he was feeling everything we were feeling out there, and that's what I love about the end of the race.
At the time, man.
Yeah, no, you don't.
So strong.
You can't tell what's happening to a person by looking at that blue dot. There's so many stories going on behind that blue dot, and then at the end of the race, I get to talk to Tom and Bo, and Chip and Carrie and the people that had to drop, and it's so fascinating. Like, sometimes you're so alone for so long, you think this isn't happening to anybody else, but you got to realize everybody is doing their own struggling thing. You know, everybody's doing their best to survive. So I think that's why we do these events, you know, that camaraderie and that fellowship that you have with your racers, and everybody has a great story at the end of it. Yeah. So that was my finish. I don't know about how Bo and Tom finished.
It helped so much
to have the pink tights.
The pink tights were
which were money.
I think we really need to point out pink tutu for Indy,
yeah,
and pink tights for Tom.
Yeah,
and
I
now have figured out the ultimate secret to ultra endurance bike pack racing.
Yeah,
something pink.
I'm putting on something pink and flashy.
Yeah,
you gotta look good and feel good while you're out there.
Yeah.
Dude, I was worried for y'all, like in the backwoods of Texas with some of the.
I have long hair too. So
I mean, I was like, these guys are brave.
Yeah, I would like to state for the record that in 1,000 miles of riding back roads in Texas in a pink 2, I've never once had somebody throw anything at me.
Good.
And everybody's been really nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have anyone, I think, specifically like, hey, cool pink pants, but I got a lot of looks.
Kids,
like, hey, you're cute.
For sure. I was like, definitely a lot of strange stares for sure.
Yeah, but, Tom. So y'all, there was Indy said, there was like a group of 5. There was like 3 up front, and then a group of 5 or so that were like 10, 12 miles back.
We were trying to stay pretty close. I didn't know if I could compete with Indy because he's such a freak athlete, and he owns the record and everything. But I thought I can at least take him on fashion, you know, with my pink and purple pants. And, be looking good and having fun.
Yeah,
you definitely won the award for having fun. I think, just following all your social media.
That's definitely my goal.
You did a really good job of like putting videos out there, and you were always smiling, having a good time, and made it enjoyable.
Smile. If I'm not smiling, I force myself to smile. It's like
it makes a big difference in your mind. I do the same thing. Like if I'm suffering, I'll start singing or just I'll make myself smile, and it works. I guess.
Yeah. I really try to not just appreciate the beauty around me. And there's a lot of green grass and pine trees, and it was I like the contrast with the red mud and the green grass and stuff. It was like, I'll take whatever I can get to get the motivation of just get over this little tiny slump. And that works pretty good for me.
Yeah, like Billy said, you won the Spirit Award. No doubt.
Yeah,
he was like, and I don't know what the hell is going on with Tom, but he's the happiest kid in the world right now. And I hadn't been on Facebook. I got to go back and look at all your posts, which was great.
Yeah, because to me, this isn't a televised sport. There's no, commentary going on. Like you said, we're all suffering, and there's so many stories of all our little moments of struggle and ups and downs and crazy emotions, and I want to bring people into this niche sport and show the passion we have, and just how crazy everything is, but it's still so beautiful, and you can find fun in anything. To me, that's very important. This was actually the first ultra race I finished. I did a Trans Am, and I finished or hopped out in Bardstown, Kentucky, just right next to my home. It was convenient in Louisville. And then I did the Route 66 in 2016, which Billy Rice put on. Of course, that was canceled, but my bike basically broke down in New Mexico, so I was 0 for 2. So that
was a good story. He told me that story when we were driving down here. It was pretty cool.
Oh man, that's a whole other
wild, hilarious.
Wild thing. Route 66 is pretty crazy. I would definitely recommend people go bike packing on it. It's difficult, but it's rewarding. So
congrats,
man!
First finish. I did not know that.
I have to finish one. There's no way I could stop. I never had a moment of.
I didn't really doubt after I talked to Billy. I figured you was going to finish no matter what. Yeah. I guess I wish Bo was here because you know what a happy person he is and how much he's always smiling. He's just like a very low key, nice person.
Yeah, he's so cool.
He had
we got along great.
He had just one of those epic moments of down and low, and he like said he was gonna sell his bike.
Yeah.
Like pulled off to the side of the road,
oh my
like
God.
extreme low. Like, this sucks. I'm selling my bike.
Yeah.
I'm never
He
doing this
questioned
again.
his whole existence. Why does he even bike pack? What? Like,
Yeah.
any of this?
Wow.
It was tough, man.
Yeah.
Really.
And
That's
I think
really tough.
they both took a nap, and then
Yeah. I think Bo had, and he took a nap before Palestine or at Palestine or something, so he had a half-hour sleep. And I made it through about 42 hours without sleep. And then we were both riding along and swerving, and I was looking at the road, I couldn't see anything really. And I just looked over to him like, dude, it's nap time. We got to find something. And we went about another mile. We found a church, and there was a carport with dry sand underneath it. I was like, that looks so soft.
That does
oh
look,
my
that
God,
sounds
it's
nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
Set my alarm for 15 minutes, put it on my chest, laid my head back, and 2 seconds later it was 15 minutes, and I was up and back at it.
you guys both had SOL bibbies.
I did. I
Yeah.
think he did, but he just laid down on the little deck. It was like a little wood area going up to the ramp up to the door.
Oh, a little incline.
He just laid on it on his side, and with he always had like a blinking light directly in his face. He just didn't care. He just out. It's crazy. The
And
second
you're
time,
just sitting there looking at him.
yeah, I
like,
was
"Turn off
like,
your light."
I gotta at least like have some sort of be comfortable.
I always
guess,
put
but-
I always wear the buff, so I put the
Yeah.
buff
Oh,
over my
yeah,
eyes.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
But
good move.
He
Yeah.
was saying Tom says he sleeps with his helmet on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And I'm like,
it's
really?
waste time to take it off for
Yeah.
sure. And then you don't
Something
need
I
a
gotta
pillow
try.
because it has like my helmet has a couple inches on the back, so it kind of elevates my head to be
It props it
back.
Yeah, you told me that
So,
too. That's a
it
good
works
move. I'm gonna
good.
try that.
It works really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's every second counts. Every little thing you have to undo, you have to redo.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like
That's the thing about
minimize
these
that.
races is you talk about being efficient, and every little
Yeah.
moment adds up. When you look at the end of the
Yeah.
race, I mean, it was maybe an hour that separated Chip and I. And I remember when I got to Groveton, Chip was there, and he's like, "Oh, they have amazing burgers." I read reviews online, and I went in there and I asked the lady how long for a burger, and she said 10 minutes, and I was like, "Nice try, Chip."
Right.
Like I just grabbed a bunch of gas station
That's
food,
old
threw it in my
backpacker
bag.
trick there. Slow somebody else down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how
How it all adds up. Every
Yeah.
single thing you do gets added to the clock.
yeah.
The clock does not
Yeah.
stop.
You have to multiply things by 500. It's like
Yeah.
So how'd you
really
finish
add
it up, Tom, after that nap?
We made it through. That was about, I think it was like midnight or something. We took a nap, and then we were riding pretty strong because after that the road was relatively smooth, pretty fast. Of course, our average speed was dropping. We were struggling to hold 10, 12, and my ass was killing me. My tights were slipping down, and I didn't have like a drawstring or anything in it, so I was standing up and just pulling them up like every 2 minutes.
That's annoying.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I should have put some suspenders on there or something.
That's
But
sweet.
yeah, maybe some rainbow suspenders.
Yeah,
next year.
exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. But so
Don't give away
Bo
all
and
your
I made
secrets.
another
Yeah.
4 hours before, and basically the only thing we were saying to each other was, ugh. And we'd be like, hey, Bo, ugh. And he'd go, yeah, I hear that, man. And
Same.
then- yeah, same, exactly, like twinsies. And then it was about 4 in the morning, and we kept saying to each other, no stopping, we got to get through this, just do it. And there's, at that point it was like 40, 50 miles, or maybe it was 55 to go. And again, I couldn't see the road. I was like, all I could think about was, I'm just staring, where's the comfiest place to sleep right now? So we found a little cemetery, but it was just grass and headstones. It was really nothing. So he just laid down the side of the road, and Bo didn't even get his bivvy out. He just sat, leaned against the fence, and put his blinky light from his back onto his chest, and just put his head down directly into the light, and just out.
I wonder if he was thinking about like safety.
Yeah,
like
he was trying to be. Yeah,
he wanted
so
to be
nobody would
visible.
run off
Yeah.
the road and stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
And then I didn't even realize, but I still had my light on my handlebars was on, and it was pointing directly at him. And I was laying next to my bike, and I was looking over at him like, man, he's really lit up. He's like shining over there.
The beacon
I was like,
of light.
okay, well, have fun. And Didn't even notice he didn't notice.
That would totally freak someone out if they were driving by and they saw him leaned up against a fence post looking
dead
with
dead.
like,
Is that a ghost?
What is going on right now?
How did he die like that? That's a very interesting position to be in.
Those
it was
55 miles
crazy.
are hard though. I mean, you're
mentally
you're so close,
done.
but you still feel so far away because all of your
It's
power is
brutal.
gone out of your legs.
Yeah.
It's really just a mental grind.
Yeah, we were on the struggle bus at that point for sure. But then, well, to me, when the sun comes up, it's a huge mental boost. I still haven't seen the sun in Texas. We've been here for
3 days
now.
of clouds.
Literally haven't seen it at all. But at the least, the lights kind of came on.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
black.
okay, we gotta do this. And I hate to do this, the countdown, but like there was nothing I could do but stare at the number and go 52, 51, 50. I was like, hey, Bo, 37 miles to go. Yeah. Oh man, so it was tough coming in, but yeah.
What
it was
point
a
did y'all
fun finish.
decide to finish together?
Well, we
Just your
rode
thing.
together basically. I think he caught up to me out of Point Blank. Is it? There was like 120 or so to go, and I was looking at the tracker, and I was like, man, he's definitely gonna catch me. But I was trying to put some space on him. But when we got to what's the road that Sam Houston Forest we got out and back on?
The one that we hit twice.
1375.
1375. It was so terrible.
Is that way? There were some uphills in there, and it was all squirrely.
Yeah, the mud was so bad. It was caught. That was the only time my chain fell off. There was just like 8 pounds of mud all over everything. It was literally a 2-foot long mud cake on both of my tires, and I couldn't move. It was like you couldn't even walk through it. It was like insane.
Yeah.
And that just took me. Somehow Bo floated through there, and I was right at the end of that road with some scraping sticks trying to get all this mud off. It was just insane. From that point, I was like, it'd be good to have some camaraderie for sure. I know we have a long night ahead of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just pretty much shared the rest of the way
At
from
one
there.
point, one of y'all said, I can't remember, hey, if you want to go sprint, go for it or something.
Yeah, it was about, we were getting real close to College Station, maybe 20 miles out. And I was like, so, Bo, what do you think about sharing the podium? We'll make it, we'll share third and have an extra big podium. And he's like, man, if I just want to finish, you're more than welcome to sprint ahead of me. Like, go for it. There's no way. At that point, we were riding about 8 miles an hour on the pavement or hard pack gravel. It's like, nah, man, there's no sprinting left to
I'm
do.
good.
Yeah, let's just get there. Let's do it. So it went a long way, through the night, being able to talk and share that experience.
One thing I love about hearing about the stories is everybody has opportunities to quit. Everybody has reasons to quit.
Yeah.
And the only difference between people who finish and people who don't is the people who don't chose to take one of those reasons. I mean, unless you get injured or you have a major mechanical or something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all it really comes down to is everybody's going to be presented with opportunities to say, okay, that's enough. I'm in my
there's
limit.
always a chance.
You know, you're going to hit your
Yeah.
limit so many times, and you're like, okay, no, can I keep going another foot? Just break it down, like another mile. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, you just break it down. You're like, can I do one more?
Yeah.
Okay, I think
Can
I do one
turn this
more.
pedal one more time?
One more time? Can I? Yeah,
That's
I
all you
can.
need. Yeah.
And as long as you don't allow yourself to quit, you can keep going.
Yeah, humans are pretty amazing with our capabilities.
Yeah, I think we don't give ourselves enough credit. If you just look at what we've accomplished through the history of time, it's like, okay, at one point we were like hunters and gatherers and like really badasses and fighting short bait face bears and shit. And like now we just live in our cozy houses.
Right.
And every once in a while, that's
The
what
challenges
I love
removed
about
from
the
daily
bike
life.
packing and the ultra endurance stuff. In terms of like pushing yourself, is getting to like tap into that like badass part of yourself. You're like, oh, okay, I'm capable of more than I thought I
Yeah,
was.
we all still have that somewhere inside
Somewhere.
of us. Yeah, we just need an opportunity to tap into it.
Yeah.
Bikepacking is one of those ways
And
to
then-
do it,
and then
for
they
sure.
cut-
absolutely push your limits.
And then the competition, man. I mean, that's what really I think takes it to the next level. You know, like
If I was out there by myself, no freaking way I'm sprinting 150 miles at the end.
I would have
Yeah.
gladly taken 3 days, 4 days
Yeah.
to do that.
It is
wasn't a
tour it.
race.
That's what I did the first time. I just
Yeah.
toured it.
I mean, that would probably be fun.
Yeah. I said that's
Less
what I'm doing
torture,
next
for
year.
sure.
I'm definitely stopping at 150. I'm bringing my full sleep setup.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep for 5 hours, and I'm gonna get back on the bike and finish it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm retiring after the ATR. I'll still do races, but
Right.
I'm done
Get back
beating
in
my
the pack
body
racer.
up. Yeah, like I would have never, like I said, I would never sprinted that hard or had any desire to do that unless I was trying to win and Chip was there. But I also had the thought too, like if he was within 5 miles of me, so within a half hour basically or 20 minutes towards the finish, I would have waited for him and finished with him. Because
Yeah.
I mean, he did so good.
Y'all put up a great race.
For his
Yeah.
first big multi-day race, that's
That was
super
impressive.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
he's a
definitely
great guy.
shared the podium. with
Yeah,
him,
we need those people to push us, you know, to get to that next
Like I
level.
said, dude, who's gonna try and be the hero next year?
Yeah.
I don't know who it's gonna be, but I guarantee you someone's gonna go off super fast.
I think Tom is gonna try to be the hero in the beginning.
Yeah, someone always wants to be a
Somebody
hero.
bolts,
Yeah.
from that first turn on
Just
the gravel.
warming up the legs.
Won't be me.
Yeah.
Won't be me. I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
I'll be back there waving. Have fun.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. I mean, like people. I know when Tom said he was registered, somebody asked him about the record, and they were like, "Well, why is it so slow?" And I'm like,
you don't
"Well, you haven't done
understand any
it.
of this."
You haven't done it, you know." And my other friend asked me,
Is that coming from a perspective of someone
From
who
somebody
raced?
that's like a
They're looking at the
real
averages,
racer,
like,
like
Oh,
races 20
why
miles an
why is
hour.
it only
Yeah.
11.5 miles an
Right.
hour? That's the record based on the speed. And I didn't chime in because I didn't want to get sucked into the Facebook thing. But I'm thinking, when's the last time you ever rode 500 miles straight? Still to this day, I've never ridden 500 miles straight. I had to sleep last year. I had to sleep this year.
Yeah.
This is a tough distance.
It's so tough.
You're not on
I mean,
roads. I mean, you're on
Yeah.
the worst
Especially
roads
this
possible,
condition. Oh, okay.
and you're
That's bad.
carrying. How much did your bike weigh?
So my
all your
my
gear and
bike
water.
fully, because I wanted to know it, with 3 full liters of water, fully loaded with food, all my electronics, it was 44 pounds.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And Chip's bike had
heavy.
like nothing on it.
Yeah.
He cleaned his
His
bike
was
off
like
3
20
times.
pounds.
It like had no dirt when he got
Wow, interesting.
in. Yeah. So I mean, I think one of the reasons I was able to do what I did is just look at my discipline, like from doing the Trans Am. That is just sitting in the saddle and grinding. So mentally, I'll have that form for the next few years. Like I can just sit in the saddle and grind, no matter what my training is.
You think
Mentally,
it's a lot
I think I
yeah.
can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once you do something like that, it just opens up that part of your brain, and you're like, okay, I can do
Yeah.
that, you
Yeah.
know, and you know you can. Like
Yeah.
it's not a question mark anymore. You just pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I looked at his bike. I looked at mine. I bet I had 3 pounds of mud on mine. It's not
Easily.
That's not a
No,
joke.
no.
Easy. Yeah. That's
No.
like a low estimate.
Probably, yeah.
And I'm like, man, I really worked my ass off for that last. And I earned it. You know, I definitely earned it.
Super impressive. You
But,
had a lot wider tires than me.
Yeah, and that's
Actually,
what
I
some
wanted-
Chip mentioned. He goes, ooh, I would change tires.
Yeah, I wish I had your setup, man. I would take the extra. I mean, my bike was probably 26 pounds. Like, I would take 15 extra
Fully
pounds.
loaded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, I didn't have very much of anything on there. So.
Let's. I actually wanted to ask you about your setups for this
Sure.
race. So, yeah, Indy, why don't you tell us about yours?
Yeah, I've got a lot of history with the Race King tires, so I went with the Race King. They're brand new, or not brand new, but they're newer tread design from 2018. So it's the 2.2 Continental Race Kings. They're very fast tread pattern. They do get loose in mud, but any tire is going to get loose in that mud out there, and you don't want a
Unless you're
mud
really
tire
big, a
because then
real
you're carrying
fat
all that weight. So, you know, when you factor in rolling resistance, stuff like that, I think that's a great tire because you can run it at lower pressures. Excuse me. I started at 28 psi in the rear and 25 in the front, and probably finished at like 23. When I was up grinding, it was like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. You know, that last 150 miles, it was, I felt it bouncing
Yeah.
along. But also you have to think of, you know, when Chip said he was hitting the gravel at the end, it was really just throwing him around. And I felt his tires, a narrow tire runs at a higher pressure. He was probably at like 35, 38, maybe 40. When you have that lower pressure, your tire deforms, and obviously it makes everything smoother. So you got to just balance all of that out. I had a 2017 Salsa Fargo steel frame, carbon fork. I ran a 34 tooth chainring up front, wolf tooth. I had a 1x setup, 10 speed. The rear cassette is a 1142 by Sunrace. Just an XT chain with micro shifters. I had profile design aero bars, Salsa frame specific bag, and then the front bag was a Revelet design egress pocket, and front shutter precision hub with a Synwave Cycles beacon light hooked up to a cache battery. Rear hub, which I think is my new favorite thing on my bike. We talk about this, is Onyx hub. Those things are amazing, especially in those muddy conditions. It's instant engagement. So
Yeah, I was jealous.
when you're going through that mud, like you stop, you start, start. There's never it doesn't hit. It's just smooth power transfer the entire freaking time. It is incredible.
What does it sound like?
It's quiet.
Oh, good.
It's 100% silent.
God, that's what I need.
It is so
I hate
cool.
when you're in the woods and it's like nice and quiet, and then you like your hub scares away all the
You'll
wildlife.
be
Yeah.
right next to Brian Steele then.
Yeah,
This is so
he loves
loud.
his Chris King
The
buzz.
Chris King hub. Yeah.
And
I like it when I'm mountain biking. It's kind of fun, I guess. But like when I'm out like riding gravel,
Yeah.
and you just kind of want to be in the wilderness, and you get to see more deer and whatnot. You know.
But so with that being said, the animals will still hear your tires.
Oh,
I
sure.
got chased the last night of the race was pretty crappy for dogs wanting to eat me. So they still know you're there. You know, you don't scare too much wildlife off. But once you've ridden one of those hubs, it's gonna be hard to go back to a regular hub. So yeah, shout out to Onyx and those guys in Minnesota. They did a good job on that. Top 2 bag was Oveja Negra, their extra large pack. I always carry a water bottle on my stem, and that's made by Chris King Cages, or not Chris King, King Cage. Yeah, out of Durango, Colorado. They make great adapters and stuff.
Do you do
Other
one
than
in
that
top two as well?
Yeah, top two. I rode the whole American Trail Race with that. So, and that's something I picked up from Lael's setup. I think when she did the Tour Divide and the Trans Am, it's just open space there.
Right.
Yeah, and I always have my electronics either in my top 2 bag or they're sticking off of a handlebar extender. So yeah, I mean, wheel set was built by Sugar Wheel Works, Jude. She's awesome, and the hoops are Stan's Arch MK3.
Anything you wish you brought, or besides the baby powder?
Yeah, baby powder to start out with, so I would have not had issues. I think they were $6 on Amazon. These just basic wool gloves. I've had them for 2 years now. Wool gloves would have been amazing, and they're mittens, and that's what I love about the bar end shifters. You can shift them even when your wrist is fucked up or anything like that, and you can wear wool gloves. And I brought booties last year, and I started the race with them, and then I never wore them the whole time. And so I said, well, I didn't wear them last year. I'm not going to wear them this year. And booties would have kept my feet dry and warm.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things. Other than that, I think I would have been golden. I could have left the sunscreen and the sunglasses at home.
Yeah.
I didn't wear those once.
Necessary.
Yeah, so that was just extra weight. And, you know, I think of like where I could have saved weight. I don't know why my setup just weighs so much, but it just does.
Well, you got a heavy bike, but
Yeah.
it's built for adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
that's
a
it.
steel bike.
So most of that could be in the frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you went with a wider tire, but I think I would go with a wider tire
smart
too.
choices. Seriously.
All right, Tom. What about you? Speaking of wider tires, what was your setup
mine were
like?
whiter and white. They didn't stay white very long though.
You went tan wall real quick.
Yeah. It was just mud, everything. So I've got my bike, a Specialized Sequoia. I got it about a month ago. Pretty recent. And I haven't really ridden. I've only put 50 miles of gravel on it before this race, so I was really hoping it was gonna be good, but it turned out awesome.
Is that a
Smart
carbon
ride.
bike? I'm not familiar.
Steel frame.
Okay.
Carbon fork, and it has the SRAM Force 1 group set on it, which performed flawlessly. This is my first time using SRAM and 1x. The 1x11 is awesome. Worked totally great. I have a big upgrade that I made was I built my own wheel set, because the one problem with the bike as it comes stock is the wheels are extremely heavy. They call them Cruzeiro wheels. I think they're like 30 millimeters wide and only 10 or 15 deep. They're real shallow, but aluminum. They weigh like 3 pounds, just the rims, and then the tires that were on it are the Sawtooth, and those are like 2 pounds each or something. So I went with the Gravel Kings, much lighter. The 43 still had enough width, and then the E13 hoops were awesome because I shaved 2 pounds off the rotating weight, which is massive. And then built my own wheels, which is kind of a risky thing to do, but I'm a bike mechanic and I'm a mechanical engineer, so I understand the whole concept of it. And in the Trans Am last year, I blew up the wheels that I built, so I learned some hard lessons from that. Yeah. So they worked great. It was awesome. I was the only one without aero bars, which I was worried about at the lineup. But when like 18 people dropped within 8 or 10 hours, I guess I'm okay. I just didn't want to bring the extra weight of the aero bars. It's like another pound.
Did you ever miss them?
No, actually it's fine because I can just lean down and put my forearms on the bars, and I wanted to keep my the tops just empty. So I had another little a riser from the stem cap. It's called a Menorah. I forget. I've never heard of the brand before, but it worked great. It just connects right to on the stem cap, and a little tiny piece of bar that goes over like the center of the stem. So that's where I put my E-Trex and my light. Yeah. So I just had lots of room for my hands to go anywhere, and it worked great. I was never really that uncomfortable, and I'm not used to riding on gravel with aero bars. To me, I tried it, I tested it out. I couldn't get the right position. I just felt like my hips were tilted too far forward or wasn't high enough rise, whatever. So just thought I'd, be more comfortable without it. And
keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple, and it did work fine.
What did you think about your tires?
The tires, I guess I should have gone with the mud tires, but compared to the Sawtooth that I had before, the Gravel Kings have tons of grip. I could stand up at any point, and I did slide around because if you're riding through 6 inches of standing water, you know what's beneath it. But a lot of grip, really, really good, and they were fast on the pavement. I could tell, like on the track leaders, when there was good pavement or a hard packed section, I was definitely making up some time there. Yeah. Because I could move. I was doing 14, 15 miles an hour on pavement or more. But then when the mud hit, I was going 4 miles an hour. I'm like,
it's hard to find that perfect balance.
That's what I was that's what I'm curious about is what is the right tire for those conditions.
Yeah, I mean, so I had
Would you do it again?
SK is the small knob version.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to compare it to the mud tire. The Gravel King makes a mud tire.
This has got bigger knobs on it.
Bigger knobs, and it has like a big central kind of weave through it. But they worked great. It got me through. I did have some problems.
It got you third, so
yeah, it's pretty good. I did have problems throughout the night. It definitely cost me about an hour and a half, I'd say. I had to pump up the tires. I think it was just so raw. I just built them like 6-7 days ago, so I don't think the tires really sealed.
They need to sit in on sometimes.
Yeah, it takes a couple rides with tubeless.
I had. I only put all those little air leaks tires before one day before I left, so I just didn't have time to do it. So that did cost me some time. And I only have a little road pump, like a little lasagna thing. So
he said he did like 1,000 or 1,500
I estimate
pumps.
I did 1,500.
That's so much.
Man, well, you got a good workout in for your arm.
Yeah. I needed that for sure.
What did you? Was there anything you wish you brought?
Let's see. Well, I have my sunglasses. Didn't need that, but I don't think so. So I had 2 shoe covers that I wore the whole time. I have a Gore, like a real light windbreaker one, and then I have some Vod waterproof overshoes. And I knew it was going to be misty and kind of not really raining, but wet out. And I was trying to keep the mud off my feet. So I had 1 pair of socks and 2 overshoes, and my feet were happy as could be the whole time. It was nice and warm. Yeah,
It's important.
So, yeah.
You can keep
Yeah,
your
to me,
hands and
and
feet
hands,
cold
super
or
important.
warm. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and I use sealskins gloves, which are real lightweight, waterproof, and they're good down to like I use them about 35 degrees. So it's that's all they had on the whole time.
Really good
it was
for
great.
this. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, the temperature was I was constantly unzipping my wind jacket, wind vest, and jersey. You know, climbing. It's like 3 zippers down.
Yeah.
Start going down, 3 zippers up.
Yeah,
I was nonstop.
I know that game.
Yeah, the temperature regulations, like to me, is extremely important just to be in that little narrow band of being comfortable. Because if I get too hot or too cold, you know, it can throw your mental game off like real
And
quick.
we were talking about it last night. There's only one way to figure out all this stuff, and that's just go out and do
Just
it.
gotta
And
do
things
it.
are going to go wrong, and you're gonna be like, okay,
you
I'm
gotta
gonna
fail
try
a bunch of
Yep,
times.
You do.
And tweak it, and you know, you kind of figure it out.
You don't just wake up one day and read on the internet about and even the things we're talking about here. It's like, well, these work for y'all, and it's great for people to hear, but you really just got to get out there and
everybody's
there's no
going to be
one way to do
different.
it.
Yeah, especially when it comes to body temperature and performance like that. Some people run hot, some people run cold. Like I know Brian Steele runs really hot, and he'll be out there in 2 layers, and I have 4 layers. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sweating, man," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, how are you running so hot?" Yeah.
I had my my tights came just below my knee, and then I did have my calves were breathing the whole time. It was so to me it was nice, and I'm used to this weather in southern Indiana and Kentucky. It's like throughout the winter it goes pretty much the lows like 20 and gets up to 40 some days. So I felt at home. I was just wearing my normal stuff.
Yeah, good.
So it worked pretty good. I don't think there was. I'm trying to remember if there was anything that I really was wishing I had other than like a bed. Somewhere to just stop.
Probably some more better food stops for you along the way.
The food was actually real disappointing. I think. I mean, as a vegan, it's always tough just being in gas stations and stuff. But there was really very limited options. I had the first hot food was at Whataburger. It was just some French fries. I ate tons of Cliff Bars, and I ate about a pound of dates. I had a bunch of walnuts and 4 bananas, about a pound of peanuts. It was my nutrition was pretty good. I was never hungry. I graze. I eat every mile. I'm constantly eating all the entire time.
Yeah,
and
you have to.
Constantly running out of food. You'd think I'd be better with all the races I've done, like the miles I've done, just strictly looking at how many miles I've bike packed, and I'm just an idiot.
You should know better, man.
I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. Obviously, I've done 2 major mistakes before big races on bike setup, and this one was my seat post, and then the Trans Am. I sized my chain 4 links too short and plagued me the entire race. But it's not supposed to be easy, and like this is one of those races where it sucked and it was so difficult, but we're gonna remember it for the rest of our lives. You never remember when it was bright and sunny and everything went as planned.
Yeah, I don't know.
This
why
was
that
a hell
is.
of an adventure, and
Yeah.
it was super fun. I'll be back for more. I love the Gravel Grand. I love that it's raising money for charity, and it's so cool that we got to be in the VIP section last night. It's just like just to see everybody at the end of the race. Like we're talking about all the stories and stuff.
That was a pretty swank party we had last night.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was a cool.
Free food, free booze,
loaded mac and cheese. Build your own mac and cheese table, tacos.
So what's next for you guys?
I'm doing the American Trail Race June 1st, and that's gonna be awesome.
How you feeling about it?
Cape
How's
Lookout,
your body
North
right now?
Carolina.
You think recovery's gonna go pretty well?
I'm so amazed that I feel better than last year. I don't know why last year beat me up so hard. I mean, I think the course was faster, and obviously there wasn't nearly as much mud, so it should have been easier. But for some reason, I feel better this year. I'll probably start biking again in a week. I'll be on my feet all this week, waiting tables and serving tables, so that'll keep everything stretched out. I need to get on my bike more, though. I could tell there's a few things I need to tweak out. I need to get a new saddle and figure that situation out. And I still have a few micro adjustments on my bike because I moved all the stuff from my old titanium bike to this new bike, and it threw everything off a little bit, and I just haven't gotten it back to where it
you
needs to
gotta find
be.
that sweet spot.
And I'm that dirt bag. I'm never gonna pay for a bike fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta save that $300.
And it's hard. I think it's hard to find a bike fitter that can really fit you to.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that a bike packing race puts you through, right? I mean, you're in so many different conditions, and I don't know. I think
I'm
you
in
just
so
have
many
to,
different seat positions, even
experiment.
from moment to moment. So, yeah, for me, American Trail Race.
What are your goals? What are you thinking this year?
Yeah, so I want to do it in 30 days or less, which means I have to average 167 a day for 30 days.
Wow.
And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, and that'll be my retirement party.
Woo.
From competitive racing. Yeah, I want to still bike pack, but just to travel around and have
We'd
fun.
miss you if you. If you retired for good.
Yeah, no, I love it too much. Like, it's definitely the love of my life, but I've tortured myself so much over the last couple of years. I want to be able to walk if I live to be 60. I'm not saying I'm going to live to be 60, but I'm
There's something to be said for that.
I'm positive that I will. I'm hopeful that I will. So.
What about you,
Tom's
Tom?
got some races coming up.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool year setup for me. Last year I did the Trans Am. That was the bulk of my time and training and everything. I don't really train. I just ride a bike. I have fun. To me, it's not that difficult. Because if you're enjoying the moment, then that's what I want to be doing.
And you ride every day.
I ride every day. I haven't had a car.
You don't
for
have a
6
car,
years. I ride literally, if I go somewhere, I ride my bike. There's no choice. That's it. So once I learned I could go 5 miles to work, I could go 10 miles to my friend's house, I could go 100 miles to my parents' house, I could go to the East Coast, I could go to the West Coast. Like, why do I need a car?
Yep.
So
It expands your range quite a bit.
Yeah. And I'm enjoying everywhere I go, and I don't enjoy being in a car.
You're just like, you're extending your lifestyle when you go race. You're like, okay, well now I'm just going a little faster.
Yeah. Or lots slower. In this case. But I love to ride to the races is a big thing. One of my big things in my life. And so I rode from Louisville to Mount Vernon, Illinois, where Indy picked me up. So I got in a 200-mile kind of shakedown, slept in a post office, like 160 miles in.
Getting back in the groove.
Wake your body up to what's coming.
The mode of being out there and going at it for 12, 14 hours at a time.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I was hoping to ride back to Louisville, but it's going to be like 14 degrees, so I don't think I can handle that.
So what do you have? Are you doing the Steens?
Yeah. So my next one is going to be the big adventure one. Is the Iowa Wind and Rock, which is going to be really cool. So this is the first year of. It's kind of the successor to the Trans Iowa, which the guy that ran that he did it 13, 14 years, and it's all he could do. So that'll be a new race, and it's Q sheet only, which is wild. So that'll be a new experience for me for sure.
There's a lot of well-known people that are going to be there.
There's some super.
What's the route?
there.
I mean, distance.
They don't post the route. It's 340 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you get there, they hand you the Q sheet to the first
I think
checkpoint.
But you know it's 340 going in.
It's roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
so.
Evan Deutsch from the Trans Am, Janie Hayes.
Yeah, it's gonna be
their
insane.
coach, Keith Ron from the Trans Am, Janie's husband, Jimmy.
Yeah.
A lot of really good people. I was actually signed up for it. I got a roster and then I dropped just because it was going to be too much money. Taking a weekend off of work. And then, so if you look at that spread, I'm losing $1,000, and I'm like, I could use that right now. So yeah,
for sure.
but I think that's going to be a fun one to.
It's April 20th.
Will we be able to watch that on Track Leaders? Do you know?
I don't know if it's on Track Leaders.
Okay.
I'll have my tracker. Well, I lost it in Haynes, whatever.
It probably won't be on Track Leaders because they don't have the route.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there would have to be a route.
Yeah, but that one is typically.
But I'll have my
a suffer
personal tracker
fest
on that
because the weather in Iowa in April, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be
cool.
cool.
And I've never been to Iowa before, so.
Nice.
That should be wild.
Are you feeling
Looking forward to
good? Your body getting ready? So April, what is that, 2 months away?
Oh, yeah, I'll be fine.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. I could go do it next week.
I'm a badass.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my life. It's what I do.
That's awesome.
It's what I want to do. So.
If you're not happy, change it.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. I mean, I wish I could be doing this stuff all. You have to work and make some money. So.
I heard that.
And then actually a week before that, I do this race series in Kentucky. It's called the Boondoggle Mountain Bike Race Series, and it's like super cool, unregulated. It's just a guy that likes racing. You know, there's no licensing or any of that. It's real cheap. And so I'll ride from Louisville to London, Kentucky, which is about 160 miles. And the reason I got the Specialized Sequoia is I wanted to be able to ride to a race and do the race on the same bike.
Yeah.
Because previously I'll take my road bike and go, because you can't ride a mountain bike that far. It takes so much time. So I'll ride my road bike, and then like my girlfriend will drive down and bring my mountain bike, and then I'll do the race on that. So now I
You
can
have a
just
good
hop on
girlfriend.
the same. Oh, she's amazing. She's super supportive. She's come pick me up from California once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
She's amazing.
Shout out
absolutely.
to Tom's
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Sarah is.
Hey, Sarah.
Man, I couldn't do this without her for sure.
Awesome.
So I'm trying to be more self-reliant. I had to take my own and not rely on.
So you
somebody with
justified
car.
a new
Yeah,
bike.
Yeah. it's hard to do.
But I need it because I can do
yeah, it's
these
actually
things with
saving
this.
you
Yeah.
her a lot of time,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's very
So
convenient.
you got her to pay for it then? No, I'm kidding. Like, here, baby,
No,
I got a good
yeah,
idea.
No, that one goes on my credit card for sure. I'll be paying that off for a minute. I have some other bikes to sell and pay for it, basically.
Yeah.
So I'll do the Boondoggle, which is a 45-mile race. It's really cool because there's some single track, there's some gravel, and then it's like connected by pavement. So it's a good mix of people on mountain bikes and cross bikes, and what's the advantage. And it's just super cool. Everybody's camping out, drinking beer before. It's like, you know, they have a good meal, and it's like $20, $25 or something to race. It's cool people. And then they do a race, so it'll be in April, and then one in maybe July and October. And there's a 45, and then there's a 4-hour like mountain bike cross country race, and one other one I forget what it is. And then but in July I'll be doing the Steens Mazma is my plan, which is in Oregon. It's 1,000 miles from Portland, and then it goes southeast through the outback. It's a lot of desert, and it goes through the highest paved and unpaved roads in Oregon. I think it goes up to 8,000 or 9,000 feet, and you go around Crater Rim, or Mount Steens and Mount Mazma is the name of the race. And basically it'll be like 500 miles of road, and then you have to climb this 25-mile gravel dead-end road to get to the top of the mountain, and then you come back down and you continue on and do that again at the Crater Rim. So that'll be really, really unique experience. I love
Sounds
Oregon.
awesome.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's really crazy different landscapes, especially when you go from Portland. You're like near the Cascades, and everything's so green and lush and beautiful, and you have 100-foot tall trees, and then all of a sudden you're on the desert. There's nothing, and it's hot. It's rocks. And it's
It's going to be interesting to prepare for.
Yeah, that'll be.
Have
really
all the right
interesting.
gear, and that's going to really test.
Yeah, I'm gonna
both
have to
ends of
do
it.
a lot of research on that because it's hot in July for sure. I'll be bringing a lot of extra water, but the Sequoias will be overkill for that. So I'm gonna try to put smaller tires on and see. Last year the record was 3.5 days, 3 days, 6 hours
For
something.
1,000 miles?
Yeah, insane. Ben Caldwell, who did Trans Am a couple. I think he got 5th the first Trans Am for 2014. And
impressive.
like he lives out in the desert, and he's just a wild, crazy man. I don't think he slept the whole time. He just did.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
That's
So
amazing.
I won't be doing that. I'm not planning on going for the record or anything. Like I want to go have fun and do 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And just kind of adventure. And Sarah, my girlfriend's actually gonna go do her own little tour around the west on the coast, like from Portland up to Astoria, and then ride down to Pacific City or something. So
Oh, neat.
she'll do like 300 miles, and at the same time I do 1,000, and then we can hang out in Portland.
Right on.
So, yeah.
Well, I know
It's gonna be a crazy year.
you guys are trying to hit the road. You got, what, a 17-hour drive?
Oh yeah.
I looked at it's actually only 15
Oh, no.
total, so not too bad.
But Tom, if people want to follow you,
Yes,
keep
you
up with
can
your
follow me on like
adventures.
Indy, actually.
Yeah,
I
Indy's
welcome it.
in-person Indy.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. If you don't know Andy, you just don't know.
If the stars align, we'll meet sometime.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at One Ton Tom, is my name. I do a lot. I don't really post on Instagram a lot. I do stories, so people can follow what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm really inspired by my big inspiration was Ryan Flynn. His name is Flynn Ryan. He does the same kind of, like, when he's out doing these adventures and races, he's constantly posting stories, and he's hilarious. So I try to emulate that my own way a little bit. And then I'm on Facebook. You want to have me on there, Tom Hughes?
Tom Hughes, right on. Well, thanks, guys, and congrats on a badass race. Y'all both killed it.
Thank you.
It was insane.
To say the least.
So much fun.
Adventure.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I know I did. One more time, if you want to keep up with me and the show and what I've got going on, you can find me on Instagram at Bikes or Death. If you want to support this show and this kind of content, please head over to Patreon. You can find me there at Bikes or Death. And like the show and leave a review. Tell your friends about it. Let's spread the word. Now go ride your damn bike.